can I start with some ASMR?
Do us the honors. Oh my god, that was amazing!
Isn't that's what you pay the price of admission for?
Yeah,
you know
that's the Drew Carey experience.
You're chugging a coffee still. What's your Starbucks order?
Just a nice coffee right now. It's hot.
It is.
Normally, I'm honestly just I'm a drip coffee guy normally, but it was warm enough today that I was like, I'll go for the iced. But I don't do anything like. I don't put any flavor in it. I just drink it black.
You're not asking for like 16 pumps of caramel or whatever the hell.
You
don't want an adult milkshake.
If I drink iced coffee, just having it black is nice.
Sure.
It's just like kind of like jet fuel. If you get the cold brew, sometimes I get the cold brew, but that's like an extra $2. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know
the difference between iced and cold brew.
Like ice, I guess, is just coffee that was brewed and then put on ice.
That's correct.
Cold brew. The nitro cold brew.
Well, I was going to ask what's the difference between cold brew and a nitro cold brew. I know what cold brew is because I worked at a bagel shop growing up.
And you brew it cold in the fridge or refrigerator.
You brew it, you let it sit. So it's not like it's hot coffee that's put over ice or anything.
But the nitro cold brew comes out of like a tap.
Yeah.
So
like beer.
Yeah. It's like beer. Which is also good. I don't know, but I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's a bold take. You think beer is good?
Beer is also good.
Controversy. I enjoy beer. I enjoy a beer.
Shane's drinking a Yingling right now.
I'm drinking a Yingling.
I don't know what you folks listening all over the country, all over the world right now, because we're a worldwide podcast.
Yeah, we are. Shout out, what was the country that I said? The Netherlands, I think.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of Dutch guys listening.
We've got a beautiful beer brewed in Pottstown, Pennsylvania called Yingling.
It's America's oldest brewery. I don't know if you knew that. Email us what your beer is. What your beer of choice is.
Yeah, I'd like to just read through a list of beers next step.
We got an email from a guy. I got to find this right now before I say anything. Oh, yeah. We got an email from a guy named Seth yesterday who just...
What's up, Seth?
Shout out
Thanks
Seth.
for listening. Long time listener, first time emailer.
He said, big fan, catching up, and he just got to the Cap Beer Chino episode from a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
And he brought up something interesting that I didn't realize, which is when they're trying to figure out what to name the beer in like season 1, like the finale episode, Kate says Cap Beer Chino.
Really?
Apparently, yeah.
Huh.
As the name it should be, and then they didn't go with that.
Interesting.
And then it came back later as
I guess
the fancier
totally. Yeah,
name.
It came back as a competitor.
Yeah.
Totally missed that in the finale. See, I guess it's a good, like, we're watching these with some space between each, so, you know, I guess we'll miss some of that, but I don't know. I don't know how Seth is watching it, but if he's really catching up and, like, binging it, I feel like that's something you'd catch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But fascinating to me. Thank you, Seth, and thanks to everybody who emails us. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for writing in.
Absolutely. I want to talk before we get into the episodes. I don't know. Are you on the Drew Carey Show subreddit the way that I am sometimes?
Not the way that you are.
I'm a little freak with it.
But
we
gotta put this on there. Why is this?
I don't know. I'm afraid they're gonna hate us.
Come on. All right. One of you other Drew Carey fans do it for us,
please. We had talked about. I think we've talked about it on the pod. They're putting out the full DVD set of the show. All 9 seasons are gonna. I think it's like $170, and it's still not the full thing because like the music licensing and.
They still take all of that out.
Yeah, some of those episodes are still coming out. Yeah, on DVD.
No. So they're taking out.
They're removing episodes that they can't clear.
Damn, that sucks.
But you're still paying $170 for it for DVD, I think. But anyway, in addition to them doing that, you can now buy individual seasons and episodes on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And somebody noted
you can only buy a couple though. You can't get like every single season on Amazon Prime.
I haven't looked.
I feel like it was only a few like early ones. I know you can definitely get like season 1.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Season 1's been available for a while.
But I don't think you can get all the seasons on Amazon. But
anyway,
I might be wrong.
Somebody noted, well, I'm looking right now. Somebody posted a screenshot of the Apple TV, like market, like the iTunes TV, whatever.
Yeah.
Where you can buy all of them. And I'm seeing season 1. So I'm seeing all 9, I think. And I see also the full season. You can buy the full season for $60 digital. Which, again, not the full, because you're not getting everything.
Yeah.
But somebody noted, except for the season 1 box art, Krista Miller is absent from all of the other art series. Like,
really?
yeah.
Except for season 1.
Season 1, which has been available for a while now, but season 8, the complete thing, season 4, season 5, it's the boys and Mimi.
It's just the boys and Mimi. Is she ever on there? Is Wick ever on there?
Not
Craig
in
Ferguson?
these. No, not in these. And somebody in the comments made a good point, which like I'm sure you would know, the Seinfeld box art. It's all kind of from the same photo shoot. Like they're all wearing the same clothes. So you're like, oh, they probably did it at the end. And they took
did.
But this, they're in different outfits. I'd imagine it's from different years.
Yeah.
I can't prove that, but like
probably
they
just doing
physically look
different promo shoots. Or
yeah, but it's
maybe
weird
this stuff was coming out on VHS in a
I
delay.
know Kate isn't in the show the full thing. She leaves at like season 7 or something, but like it's weird they wouldn't include her in any of it.
She's a massive part of the show
in
to
today's
this point.
episodes that we're going to talk about. She plays a huge part. So it's bizarre to me that they would just, I don't know if it's like a disagreement with her or like they don't want to include her because she's not, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Was she not as big a pool as, well, like, because Mimi is like, obviously Mimi and Drew, the biggest faces of this show. And then Ryan Stiles is kind of like Drew's Robin, right?
Yeah.
He did all this stuff with him, Who's Line and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know what Diedrich Bader's deal is.
I think it's more of a political thing. People in the comments, whatever. She leaves to go to Scrubs. Her husband is the guy, Bill Lawrence, who created Scrubs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wonder if there's like bad blood. Though I think Scrubs was also a Warner Brothers show. So I'm not exactly sure.
So, but your assertion was that they, or like what we were just saying is they did this.
Yeah.
Not like all at once, maybe at the end, like they did in Seinfeld. Mm-hmm. Though maybe they did. Yeah. I don't know what their faces look like, I guess, in each of the, but it would make sense then if they did it all in one shoot towards the end when they were going to release some box sets.
Right.
If that was the case.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem to be because they're all in like different, here, I'll show you. They're all in like different outfits and shit. Like, you know what I mean? But there's just no Krista Miller.
Yeah. I could see how maybe some of them were done at a similar time. I don't know. But that is weird.
Yeah. It's just a weird exclusion somebody noted. And I was like, I don't know. We're not going to solve it.
No.
But I want justice for Kate.
Justice for Kate.
Yeah. She's very fun.
Although I got to be honest.
Yeah.
In this ep that we watched, she's sending me a lot of mixed signals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is going on with Kate and Drew here, man?
I think it's you got more issues with the writers. Or maybe network people who are like, we have to have
more romance
some
with Drew.
Drama,
some will they, won't they?
Some will they, won't they? Yeah, I think
because it was genuinely bothering me. I was fine that they pigeonholed Kate and Oswald together. Whatever they were like, we need to have two of them date. We need to have girl in group date one of the guys,
and can't be lead guy because lead guy we have set up to be the most unattractive man in the country.
But then they're going to hit us with an episode like this Bahamas ep.
Yeah.
So let's
dive in. We're talking season 3, episode 12, and season 3, episode 13. But episode 12 is Vacation, which also doubles as a holiday episode.
Yeah, it was. It started off full Christmas time. We're at Winford Louder.
Where they're doing
there was like a toy drive
Yeah.
situation. There was like a bin right in the front. They really don't talk about the toy drive. It's kind of irrelevant, but it was kind of just to set up the time of year. And then it immediately jumps into, I guess they're having this competition.
A beautification
of your desk, to holiday-ify or whatever. It's kind of like, remember at school whenever the teachers would do their doors?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if yours did that, but I remember I always thought that would be one of the most fun, because we've been over this on the podcast. I liked decorating for Christmas a lot as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
But the teachers in our school, they'd all have a competition to do some crazy shit with their door.
Right.
And like put some fake snow on it or put whatever, or lights on it. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of what they're doing with their workspaces, their cubicles.
And, you don't expect it to be that big. Kate says she just kind of dressed in a little go-go outfit and got on top of her station.
Yeah,
and
that
danced.
outfit was funny. Is that what, like, she dressed like a yellow domino?
Yeah, I don't really know what it was supposed to be, but it read go-go to me. Like, it read like sort of like Studio 54 or something.
Yeah. And she was, I guess, but like the way everyone was like approaching it. They're like, it was like a racy outfit or whatever. And I'm like,
it's like, it's not
it's that. Kind of like modest.
Maybe in the 90s. I don't know. Different time.
It was leather, I guess.
Yeah. Well, leather
it was like yellow leather.
It was like a.
It's definitely leather.
It looked like plastic almost. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway,
they're doing this contest. Wick is judging it.
Yeah.
And the winner gets 2 tickets to the Bahamas.
Hell yeah.
While it's like 10 degrees in Cleveland right now in December.
Yeah.
So that's the you want the island getaway.
That sounds awesome.
You ever been to the Bahamas?
No, I've always wanted to go to Bahamas. I haven't been to too many. I went to Hawaii. I haven't been to too many islands though in my life.
I've done Turks and Caicos.
Yeah.
And I did like one of the U.S. Virgin Islands. I can't remember which. I want to say like St. Thomas or something.
The Bahamas seems awesome. Oh no, you know what I'm confusing the Bahamas with though?
Russia.
I was
You thought it was Russia, and you're like, oh, it's so cold.
Greenland. No, I was confusing it with Bermuda. I was gonna say, one thing.
Well, you got 2 of the 3 of the Beach Boys songs.
Yeah,
you can go to Bermuda, you can go to Bahamas, you can go to Come On Pretty Much.
Yeah. Kokomo. You know how long it took me to realize Kokomo wasn't a real place?
How long did just this year?
It's just this year.
You tried to book for a summer
Kokomo,
vacation.
it was that place we fought a war, right? No. For those of you that don't know, I was referencing Kosovo.
I didn't get it. I just laughed. Yeah, so they're going to the Bahamas. We would like to go to the Bahamas at some point.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. I've never
So
been.
if anyone wants to, once we blow up, Shane and I, well, first we got to go to Cleveland.
Yeah, we got to go to Cleveland. Then we're going to go to the Bahamas. We're going to win the beautification contest while we're in Cleveland. So, yeah, no. So we get Kate doing the dancer stuff. We get Mimi. Mimi has gone all out in a way that I wasn't anticipating. She pulls back the curtain on her desk situation, and there's a whole youth boys choir ready, like dressed in white gowns like you would expect, and they're all singing modified Christmas carols to reflect the contest, Drew Carey being a fat pig, just crazy.
Yeah, apparently it was modeled after a boys' choir that Wick was a part of when he was a child.
Yes.
Mimi said she had done her research, and then Wick was like, well, you didn't do enough because they all beat the shit out of me when I was a kid or whatever it was.
He was not cool with the choir boys, it seems.
Yeah.
So,
but it was really, she did the whole, it was like kind of like a cathedral setup right at her cube. I was like, this doesn't even count.
Yeah.
Her desk isn't even here.
How'd you get a riser? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, no, she does go all out though. But you know who goes out even more? Is our good friend Drew.
Crushes this.
He pulls his thing away. His entire cubicle station is recreated out of gingerbread and candy.
Yeah.
He's got like edible pink slips for Mr. Wick to nibble on.
Yeah.
His computer's made out of gingerbread. Like, it's
Wick really loves it.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised, but there was something about the peppermint pink slip.
Yeah, that
he just
won him over.
He loved it.
I think Nigel Wick enjoys some whimsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a goofball a little bit.
He is. He's a little like, and he tries to play this hard ass, but we all know deep down he's just a little schoolboy at heart.
He's a little boy who's been hurt, and that's why he hurts others.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the lesson, ladies and gentlemen. All right, thank you for listening.
So Wick loved Drew's, but Kate, you know what? Again, like I was saying, everyone was like, damn, Kate snatched or whatever they were saying.
Kate is serving.
Everyone was all into Kate in this random yellow leather domino face.
Well, I guess we should also say, in the same way that Mr. Wick is a whimsical boy, he is also a horny boy still.
Yeah.
So he's torn.
So anyway, he was like, also, I guess he did have the hots for Kate before. But either way, he was like, it's a tie. He gave him the both.
So they each get 1 ticket instead of the full pairing.
Yeah,
so
which obviously doesn't work because Drew's still dating Nikki. He wanted to take Nikki and Kate
Oswald, obviously.
Yeah.
So there's now a huge dilemma, but Mr. Wick, he's trying to care, he says. He's trying really hard, but he just doesn't care.
Yes.
So, I don't know. This is the problem where with office contests, there's no rules. There's no hard and fast rules.
Yeah.
So you can pull an audible like that.
Yeah, I guess when you just... he is making the rules.
Yeah.
He's just making that
He's
shit
the boss.
up.
Yeah. Just as you go, you're making that shit up.
Yeah, now we got a little dilemma here. Although, is it a dilemma? Because they are friends.
Right. It's more of a dilemma than we realize, I think, because once we come back from the title sequence, we get Drew and Lewis in the backyard.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, Drew's trying to confide in Lewis. Lewis does not want to be out there. It is fucking freezing.
They're playing pool.
But they're playing pool. All of Drew goes to break the ball and like.
They're all stuck together.
Everything's stuck together. It's frozen solid.
Drew is trying to force the issue because he's avoiding going inside because Kate's in there.
Kate and Nikki and Oswald.
This has apparently, this whole ticket situation has dug up some weird feelings that haven't really been brought up in a while.
Right.
Which is what kind of like, look, I get you got to write an episode, but I was kind of like, God, we're
back
digging,
to here.
we're back here.
Yeah.
I felt like we were over this a little bit.
No, because if we know Drew Carey, he's a man who just like a lot of men, I think, just let their feelings sort of sit and don't address it. But yeah, no, he's still got feelings for Kate.
Yeah.
Seems to be.
He's
jealous of Oswald, he says.
Yeah, he literally says, I am jealous that Oswald
has
this with Kate. And, he even says, I always had this fantasy about being trapped on a deserted island with Kate.
Deserted tropical island.
Yes.
He's like, well, not fully deserted. There is a McDonald's. But I like that even in his romantic fantasies, there's a Big Mac.
Oh, yeah. Quick aside. I had the McCrispy strips.
Yo,
from
so
McDonald's
did I. Let's talk about this.
Last night?
Yeah, I didn't have them last night. I had them Thursday night.
Yeah, Belle and I got back from that concert.
Yeah.
And we were like, do you want to get the McCrispy strips? Great.
They're pretty good.
Quality, like cheap chicken tenders.
They're not chicken selects. Chicken selects reign supreme for me. This is the fast food podcast.
They're not. They're not Popeyes.
Do you have
either.
that
That's
creamy chili dipping sauce though? The dipping sauce.
No, I should have had that. I just had the buffalo.
Good. That shit's good.
Anyway, recommend the We're not sponsored by McDonald's, but
if they want to, man, I really had a moment this week. I was like, you know what? I got so many weddings coming up this summer that I got to go to, and I'm like, I would like to lose a little bit of weight, feel a little better in the suit. And then I turned on the TV to watch something the other night, and I got the McCrispy strips as. I'm like, God, why would they bring back chicken fingers right now? Why are you torturing me with McDonald's being like, oh, we got your favorite? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
God. No. I'll take 5. God damn it. But yeah, he tells Lewis, he's like, I think this is going to be a problem for me and her to be alone. I hope I don't say anything stupid or God forbid do
to the point where
stupid.
Like he wanted this trip so bad. Of course, you get to go to Bermuda when it's freezing and clearly freezing in Cleveland. And he's like, I'll give up the ticket. The right thing to do is just to give it to Oswald so I don't have to face whatever this emotional strife is.
Yeah.
So he goes in. And Oswald's, I like this part. Oswald's making Jiffy Pop on the stove, and then he's like, I thought you were watching basketball with the girls. He's like, yeah, I got kicked out. I was asking too many questions.
Classic. I want to say, we'll say this. Diedrich Bader, man, is so good in this scene.
He rules.
He's very funny.
He's also he crushes this whole series. I know we give Lewis and we give Ryan Stiles and Drew their flowers, but God, Diedrich Bader.
Yeah. So this is Drew asking Oswald basically to take his ticket and be like, you go, you have a good time with Kate. I don't think I should be doing this. And he's very gung-ho. And then we just see these rapid sort of crazy mood swings where he goes, oh yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be sunny. Wait a minute. Do you think I'm a charity case? I need your poverty.
You don't think I could afford to take Kate
anywhere
myself, huh?
Yeah. You have to give me a trip. Yeah, and then he ultimately decides no, but the reason he says no isn't because of anything he's bitching about. It's because he has work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So he's like, actually, no, you take it.
Which one of the few times where it seems work has ever stopped one of these motherfuckers
from doing something.
Anything.
Yeah. They show up to other people's jobs, but they're like, oh no, I can't go to the tropical island.
My man's worried about work for once.
Yeah.
The whole next ep, they're just slaving away for Buzz Beer
for free.
And I'm like, don't any of you work anywhere else?
Yeah. Literally, we'll get to it, but later this episode, you're like, I thought you had work.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So then Drew goes into the girls watching basketball. Yeah. And he's like, Kate, I think you should give up your ticket to Nikki. And then we get this whole thing with Nikki. We've known
what is this?
Well, we know Nikki's had weight issues before, like managing her weight. So we're in the dead of winter and she's just hogging down some chicken wings.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this is the first instance we're seeing this, right? Like, I remember the weight issues were brought up.
But she had resolved them.
And she resolved them, and that was during the pig watermelon eating thing.
Right.
And ever since, like, I guess we haven't seen much of Nikki, but we weren't really, it didn't seem like it was that sort of big thing. It kind of seemed like we were over the hill with this. We're beyond it. Whatever. Now the weight thing is purely a Drew thing.
Yeah.
But here we are. Yeah. Nikki is hunched over the calf.
Yeah.
We've all been in this position, hunched over the coffee
be there
table.
in a couple hours. Yeah.
Just
inhaling chicken wings.
Yeah. Just inhaling chicken wings. And like she has like a bib on. You can't tell if they're trying to put weight on her right now.
Right.
Like via makeup or costume department, whatever. Like they didn't really show her full body, but she was clearly hunched over in a bib, chowing down chicken wings, and then a ding goes off, and she's like,
got biscuits in the oven.
So.
She does not feel comfortable going to an island wearing a bathing suit. She's like, I gotta. And Drew's like, oh, you look great at any size. He almost says like, if I can be big and sexy, you can be big. But then Kate stops him before.
Good friend.
Yeah. So they decide, you know what, the two of us, we're just gonna go as friends. We're gonna have a good time. It's, we used to do trips a lot growing up. They've known each other since they were
kids. 7
children, 7 years old.
Yeah.
They're like, let's just do it. It'll be fine. I think the thing also I want to say through all of this is Lewis must feel like the most unattractive person.
Well, he keeps making those. He's like, how come? Because Drew was like, there's something about Nikki and Kate and Oswald and me and Kate and Lewis is like, why does nobody? I must be hideous.
Yeah. He's excluded from all of these love triangles, situationships, whatever.
Yeah.
He feels excluded, and then to that point, he's also not brought up in any of these discussions as well. Would he want to go to the Bahamas?
Yeah.
So he's doing a lot of throat clearing, I think, to let people know that he's upset when he's not being included in things. Poor Lewis, man. He's a good dude.
Honestly, I would take Lewis to the Bahamas. Of all of them, I'm going to the Bahamas with Lewis.
He'd be the most fun.
He'd be a damn good time. You'd be getting into crazy hijinks with Lewis.
He's going to bring you the good stuff from Drug Cup. You know what I mean? And then you're going to be on an island in outer space with my man. But yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
so the next scene, we get Lewis and Oswald house sitting for Drew, which I just want to say, I said it earlier, didn't Oswald have work?
Right.
Why the fuck?
Is he
can they
there?
I don't understand.
He was like, I got work, I can't go. And now they're just sitting there. They're sitting there at Drew's house doing what they're always doing, just drinking beers. And they want to play fucking dodgeball in the house.
They're very excited that Drew's treating them like adults in this situation.
Because I guess Drew never lets them do this.
Right. Lewis says that while he's filling up a Nerf gun.
Yeah.
So then they decide to play dodgeball inside. And it leads to like, I enjoy the stupid logic we see here of like they can't play dodgeball inside because they're going to break things. So how do we fix that? Let's take everything that could break and put them all into one big box.
Yes.
But then where are we going to put the box? Like all of this, like we're going to slide it down in the basement.
Yeah. And then it ends up that they're both standing there wondering where to move the box. They're holding the box. And then Lewis lets it slide that Drew
had concerns,
had unresolved feelings with Kate.
Yes,
that he was confiding to him earlier,
and Oswald drops
the box. So all the fragile stuff,
breaks.
But obviously, Oswald's like, "Holy shit! Let's talk about this. What's going on?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, he's just got feelings for her, and he's worried. Stupid stuff."
And Oswald immediately leaves. He's out the door. We know what's going on. He's gonna go get him.
Confront
He's gonna
go save his girl.
Yeah. So next scene is Kate and Drew at the hotel.
Yeah, they're
in the Bahamas. They've arrived.
Like immediately uncomfortable. I wonder how uncomfortable he has been the whole time.
It was killing me that he was immediately uncomfortable. In this whole scene, I'm like, come on, just get it together, man.
Be a normal dude.
Be a normal dude. I know you want to have sex with her, but you just be cool.
Yeah.
Just grab a beer.
Just grab a beer.
Yeah.
He's just got to be more of a normal guy. He's got to strive to not let the horn dog.
He was like, instantly she
over.
Comes in, she's excited. He notices that it's one bed, which to be fair, I guess I would notice that first.
Yeah.
If you didn't anticipate one bed.
Sure.
But now she's jumping up and down on the bed, and he's like, "Don't jump up and down on the bed." And he's like, then she starts
changing into a suit. She's got a suit underneath her clothes.
And Drew's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Don't take your clothes off." And then he sits in a chair and he turns it into the corner. He takes the cuck chair and he turns it into the corner.
Drew Carey's cuck chair. But then she like sits on his lap, and then I think he's worried about other things happening. So he's like, "Get the fuck off me!" Like just freaking out.
So
poor Drew.
Yeah. Keep it in your pants, Drew.
Yeah. Well,
and he was trying.
He was trying really hard to keep it
But
in
I'm
his
just
pants.
like, it shouldn't be this hard, my guy. That's
No.
your friend.
Literally. It shouldn't be this hard. Yeah. No, so then we get Oswald. Oswald has stuck his way into the luggage compartment of a plane, it seems.
Yeah, he's with all the global parcel freight boxes.
I didn't even realize that's what it was.
Yeah, all the boxes were labeled for his company. So you know what? Maybe he took the Bahamas ship.
He went to work. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
He was sitting there with all these crates that said global parcel.
And he's talking to an animal. I can't remember the name, but he's talking to some caged animal about his trip. And
I couldn't tell. They didn't show the animal.
No.
I was like, what? I wonder what animal.
Because again, they've got no animal budget anymore.
Because do they put dogs down there?
In the Bahamas?
No, in like the plane like that.
Oh,
like
I think
underneath.
Maybe
big dogs.
Yeah, like a dog that's not a service animal. Maybe.
Yeah.
All dogs go to the Bahamas. You know, that's what they say. It's true.
I guess it's got to be cold down there, though. They don't have like heaters, do they? I guess they do.
don't know.
They have to. I guess you don't want shit to break.
Yeah. I think they
I
have
don't know.
heat. I don't know. I've never been.
If any of you fly planes, if any of you have flown in the cargo part of a plane, let me know if there was heat.
Yeah. Please, I'm just curious.
Right.
Also, if you're in there right now listening to this, thanks so much. We appreciate it. I hope the
Thanks
other
for
animals
listening.
you're with enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get that little cutscene of Oswald. Then we get Drew and Kate coming back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
They apparently were a big hit at the pool. I think it's just Drew. What does Drew say? A lifeguard was feeding him mozzarella sticks or something?
Yeah, well, I love that they first off were a big hit at the pool. They were the most popular people. I just love that narrative for them. Drew seems like he'd be a great time.
Oh,
of
for
course.
sure. Yeah.
He was sliding out like a seal on his belly and
Yeah.
having them feed fish sticks or mozzarella sticks to him.
Drew Carey must have the craziest fucking cannonball.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know our build, man.
That's
you know
a
what
man
I mean?
who
If you
can
can
cannonball.
curl your legs up enough in the air, motherfucker, he's going to create a crater.
Drew's a little bit of an athlete. I'm sure he's
Sure.
got that sort. He's a little nimble like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they apparently had a great time at the pool. For one small moment that we don't get to see, Drew was over this hang up.
He was happy.
And they
He
were
was
just
in
happy,
bliss.
drunk, having fun. One thing that I loved here was he was restocking the mini fridge with stuff he brought from home.
The honor bar.
Yeah.
I kept thinking they were saying the auto bar, and I was like the Maryland venue. I don't know. This is just such a very niche thing. There's a venue called the Auto Bar, like down in I think Baltimore, and I was like, the fuck? Why are they saying that? And then
I thought they were
realized,
saying the outer bar.
no, the honor bar. It's like a it's on your honor that you whatever you take there you'll pay for it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, it's at this point that we get like a bellhop coming in. Like there's a knock on the door, and there's like a hotel guy comes in with room service for the two of them.
Yeah, it's apparently they might be in a honeymoon suite or something, but he comes in with caviar and food
For the very happy couple.
for the happy couple,
Yeah.
and then they pretend that they were married. They're like, "Oh my god,
We should have done this way sooner.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if it's complimentary on the hotel, good on that hotel.
But the second they get the food,
Yeah, a new problem arises.
the most fucking birds you've ever seen. Like in a matter of seconds of the food getting set on their table, parrots, pigeons, I don't know what the fuck,
Well,
every
it's not
kind
even
of
like,
bird.
it's not like small birds. It's like big fucking tropical birds arise. And of course, because it's like a really nice hotel room, they've got this big walkout balcony.
Yeah.
And like, French doors you can open and all this shit. So then, the birds just fucking come right in. They have to barricade themselves in
Drew
the
was too
bathroom.
afraid to shut the door. I'm like, "God, just get over there, slam it. Fuck birds."
He's
man.
afraid of women. He's afraid of birds. Drew has to get over it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they barricade themselves in the bathroom. They
call the hotel.
Call for help.
There's a toilet phone, so they call the
toilet phone.
They call the bellhop on the toilet phone. And they're like, "Can you get the birds out?"
Yeah.
So
They're
in the
working on it.
meantime, Kate pops a squat in the tub, and so does Drew, and they kind of hash out some feelings here.
Yeah. Well, we get one also. Oswald has made it to the hotel.
Oh,
in
yeah,
between this, we find Oswald. He's just finding people in the hallways. And I don't know what his strategy here is, but he's asking them less like, do you know where the Carey O'Brien room is? And more like, hey, would you defend me for murder on a jury trial?
Yeah, because he was like, I'm going to have to kill them.
He's getting hot with this, upset at Drew. So yeah, he's just running around like a crazy man. But that could also kind of be how you describe every Oswald plot on this show. He's running around like a crazy man.
So he's going room to room,
Yes.
cut back to the bathroom, and Kate really starts opening up here.
Right. She's got relationship concerns with Oswald. She doesn't know.
So
this
again,
is
out of the
probably
blue-
one of her longest relationships that we've seen.
Yeah.
At least on the show. So
That we've been privy to. That it kind of felt out of the blue. Again, this whole Kate plot was sort of like they did make her flirtatious towards Drew.
totally.
She was very flirtatious in that scene where we were giving Drew shit, but to be fair to Drew, I guess she was like sitting on his lap in a robe and being like, "What's the matter?" Like very kind of flirtatious towards
Very
Drew. I
forward
know
and
there
friendly.
probably wasn't anything there, but like clearly they were. And then all of a sudden she's opening up in the bathtub like, I don't know if Oswald's the one. And I was like, what is
She
going
just doesn't
on
know.
here?
They have fun, but is he the right one for her? Is he a good partner?
She's at an age, I guess she was like saying that she like wants to know that this is the one for her.
It's not, she can settle in a way or feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So Drew then goes on to tell her a story that sounds a little familiar from the top of the episode, but he's
what the one that he was telling Lewis.
he goes, Oswald has known that you were the woman for him since he was 7. All this, that, the other, he thinks you're the prettiest, you're smart, you're kind, all this stuff.
He dreamed of being stuck on an island with you and it had a McDonald's.
Yes.
He literally goes through his whole dream and says that was what Oswald
Substitutes his name, though. Yeah, he's a good man. He's a good friend. This is
Yeah,
where we need
this
to
is a
acknowledge
real-
the Drew Carey
real guy
bro
here.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it works. And Kate's like, really? He feels that way? He's never told
How
me
could
that.
she was like, how can you not love a guy like that?
And then we get the bellhop from before comes back in. They're getting the birds out. They figured it out. But they're going to be safe to leave in a minute. And as they're walking out, Kate realizes a flaw with Drew's story, which is that she didn't meet Oswald until he was 10.
Yes.
And she was 10.
The only person she's known since he was 7
Was
was Drew.
And then Drew goes, did I get this right? That he goes, oh, well, Oswald's mom told me that when he was 10 or something. But she told me that he felt that way since he was 7 to make him feel better.
Yeah. Or no, she used to say, God, what was it? That he was 7. God, so they used to tell Oswald he was 7 when he was 10 to make him feel smarter.
There you go.
That's what it was.
That makes sense.
That's
some
awesome.
convoluted fucking shit, though. God damn. I used to tell my 10-year-old he was 7 so he would feel better about being dumb.
He would feel advanced.
God damn. God, he is dumb as bricks. That's crazy.
I love them.
He's beautiful.
Speaking of the devil,
Oswald,
he is in the hall. He finally finds the Carey O'Brien room.
And he runs into this bellhop and he's asking, what's going on. He's like, oh man, you don't want to go in there. It's a mess. They were wild animals.
Hey, just look what they did to my pillows.
Yeah, destroyed just a bunch of. He's like, and they didn't care. They were strutting, and Oswald's just like hands in head. He's like, oh God, assuming the worst. He's like, they were crapping all over the floor, and it's at that point that they realize they're talking about animals and not Drew and Kate. Drew comes out, and Drew's like, oh, what the hell are you doing here? Oswald confronts him very much, and he's just like quickly. He's like, I couldn't, I heard what you were doing. What the hell's going on, man?
He's like, I have 3 questions for you. Did you guys have sex?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, really? No, really? No.
Okay, that's 3.
All right,
At least he had follow-ups. He's a man who was ready.
Yeah.
So he takes him at his word. They're cool with it. And then Drew offers him the hotel room. He goes, you take the night, have a romantic evening with Kate. And that's kind of where
that's kind of it. Drew has to bellhop if there's a nude beach.
Yes.
And the bellhop's like, not for you, buddy.
He's like, are you watching or are you going to join in? He's like, I think I'm going to join in. He goes, nope. Nope. God.
And Drew just goes back to Cleveland because that was the implication.
Oh yeah, we don't see a lot else. The credits scene is he's back home with Nikki, and we get this choir one more time on TV now with Mimi directing them. Just
the Winfred Louder Boys Chorus.
Yeah,
and Mimi's just directing them, talking about how Drew's a
fat
dork,
pig
a
or
fat
a dork.
pig, dork loser.
Yeah, all the things
we've come to know about Drew.
That warm your holiday heart, if you will. So
that was it.
Yeah, thought it was an okay app. Not
not the strongest. But
it's starting to dip in the middle of season 3. I think
the only thing for me coming out of this one was just like I couldn't believe how much they dug up the Drew Kate thing again. I was like, I kind of felt like we were beyond it, and they also made her very flirtatious, and they made Drew this like emotional sort of wreck. When generally, I think Drew is the level-headed, cool. Drew is the guy that we come to see at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, but he wasn't that through the middle. So, I was a little surprised with that. But ultimately,
it also makes me wonder where we're going with this Oswald Kate thing.
Yeah. It's going to end. She's obviously leaving in season 7.
Well, yeah. Yes.
So,
but
how
does
is
it
going to blow
continue
up
for 4 seasons? I don't know. I kind of doubt that.
I think it's going to go for the rest. If they had this in the middle, I could imagine it, because they don't make it an overtly beat you over the head, we're fucking thing. Because even like in the next episode,
start, but you kind of forget it.
Yeah, but in the next episode, like they're in it together the whole time.
Yeah.
We have no idea that they're dating.
No.
There's like no little thing.
And I don't know about you, I forgot about Nikki for a second. She's also not in this next episode we're going to talk. I just kind of forgot that she existed.
Well, she's just like the classic. That's the classic Drew girlfriend thing where they're like, oh yeah, Drew is dating a girl, but we're not going to pay her to be in every
She's
episode.
just not here right now. She's recurring. It's I don't know. It's just weird to me that they create this tension of like nobody sleeps with Drew Carey, nobody likes him, this, that, the other. But then he's also got a girlfriend simultaneously that just pops up when you need to remember her.
Yeah,
it's crazy
when it's convenient.
Yeah. Sure.
So
that brings us.
Speaking of the next episode, we'll fast forward over here to Ep 13.
Yeah, howdy neighbor.
Howdy neighbor.
We finally get some quality time with these neighbors of Drew.
Remember if you all recall, several episodes ago, he had wealthy neighbors move in across it was next door, and they were trying to buy his house. That's right.
Well, they tried to meet him for the first time, and Drew was in the middle of a DEA drug bust, because of his coworker Larry. Yeah. But then they met him, and then his house was seized. Yeah. And they tried to buy the fucking house,
and then they let him have it.
Yeah. So we don't know a lot. We know that they're wealthy.
Yeah, we know they're wealthy.
They get a lot of construction done at the house.
The Clemens.
The Clemens.
We come to find their name. The Clemens, and it's Greg Clemens. I didn't catch his wife. Janet.
Greg and Janet Clemens. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Give me a second. Just checking my notes. Yeah, Janet. Yep. So we start with this one in the kitchen. They're working on Buzz Beer. I love it when they just drop us in a Buzz Beer sort of situation.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, yeah, by the way.
By the way, they're still running this small business.
There's a whole small business in Drew's garage. But they have a new problem now. They have too many leftover Christmas labels for their Buzz Beer
that apparently
holiday
have,
run.
like, Santa Claus on them.
Right. So then Lewis comes up with the solution, which is we'll just paint the beard black. Yeah. And we'll make it like, sort of like a plaid shirt instead of red. Yeah. And then it's just it's a drunk talking to a bunch of midgets. Yeah. Problem solved. That's the kind of branding that Buzz Beer's in for.
Yeah. And Kate's like, you know what? We don't have a better idea. Yeah. So
I don't say genius lightly, but I do say that's fine. Or whatever. She's like, yeah, we'll deal with it. So
anyway, she goes to get more labels, I think, from the garage or something.
And it's here where Oswald brings up all they've been eating is coffee-infused beer and bean dip all day. He's like,
after a big chili
dinner or whatever. He's like, do you know what that means?
I want to know what a big chili dinner means. Like what you got all the fixins.
I need the size of the chili. Are we talking sour cream?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I would imagine you got to have maybe biscuits and sour cream and cheese and do it up big, but big chili dinner. I was like, not even a regular chili dinner is kind of crazy.
Well, we're driving home that their stomachs are about to implode. And it's also at this point we hear a super loud boom from outside.
Yeah.
It gets my favorite line of the thing, which Lewis goes, wow, so she went outside so we wouldn't have to hear that. But no, it is not Kate ripping ass. It is the tank that they brew Buzz beer in out in Drew's garage has exploded.
Yeah, the garage blew up.
Yeah, you know, that's just how we're going to start it.
Yeah, garage blew up. So Kay runs in. She's like, the tank blew up. They run back outside.
Miraculously has missed Drew's yard, it seems.
Yeah, it hasn't really hit. It didn't hit the pool table.
No, none of that stuff. It's all
it
fine.
Didn't break anything in the house.
But it goes out the other direction towards Drew's neighbors.
Yeah,
so
hits
this
the
is
Clemens
where we
place.
get Greg and Janet running over, or Greg specifically. And he goes, I don't know what was going on, but I was just walking through my front yard, and now all of a sudden I'm covered in beer.
His jacket is soaked. We
Jacket's
should also
ruined.
say it's clearly wintertime.
Yes.
It sounds to me...
In case the holiday label didn't inform that.
Right, but it sounds to me that the issue might have been it's very cold outside, and they make this reference that the pipes froze or whatever. So that might have been what caused the tank to blow up.
Right.
I guess they don't really delve into why, but there is foam all over the garage. Like you said, his jacket's soaked. The implication is that a bunch of beer at 35 miles an hour dumped all over him and his house and his yard. And the garage is covered. Drew isn't here.
No.
So Kate, Oswald, and Lewis are left to kind of explain, and then the tank starts to spurt out more beer.
So then Oswald, in a very sort of like physical comedy gag, just starts trying to cover all the holes with his different limbs. Greg's pissed, especially because he goes, unlike Carey, I can't walk around smelling like beer. Which, okay. All
right, man.
I get it.
Get off your high horse, though.
But there's a larger problem, which it seems to be this could be the end of Buzz Beer.
Well, yeah, they pretty quickly say, oh, we can't afford to get a new tank.
Can't afford to get a new tank, and we find out later, but that thing's
Didn't he
not...
mortgage his house for this new tank?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. The house was already sold as well, and he bought it back. You know, all that shit. I don't know what the fuck.
I don't understand his finances.
I don't get it either. I don't. God, I would hate to be Drew Carey's accountant.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? We need another $20,000 to replace a big beer tank.
You just took out a couple $1,000s to get your disabled dog fixed.
Yeah.
Where does it end? The big chili dinners. They're too expensive, Drew. But so we go to the titles. Then we come back. We finally have Drew. He's trying to make peace with his neighbors by inviting them over for dinner to his house.
Yeah, they have the kitchen table set up, and then what I love is they set up the little kiddie table.
But the kiddie table though is their regular kitchen table, right?
No, the kiddie table is the kitchen table is what's set up. The kiddie table is very clearly like a small end table sized table that they pulled into the corner where they have like the bench seating.
Oh, okay.
And that's
the
where
benches are always there, though.
Yeah, they always put the benches there. And then they sit Oswald and Lewis over there.
Yeah. And they're very upset that they're going to have little plastic cups. And, you know, they start throwing a fit about it, which kind of then reinforces the point as to why they are sitting at the kiddie table, I think. But Drew goes to take trash out and hears his neighbors talking about him before they come in. Sounds like Greg really doesn't want to go over.
Yeah, Greg's like, I don't want to go to spend time in Carey's house.
And it sounds like Janet can see Drew in his bathroom from their
she
bedroom.
can see him in his shower.
Yeah.
And then they talked about like, you know what I saw before his arms gave out?
in the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
He was eating. And it's, you know, they get us right to the edge of something else, if you will.
Yeah,
right to the edge, folks. It's a masturbation joke.
You guys don't listen. You guys don't tune in for that kind of crass.
It's potty talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gross.
This is a family podcast.
Drew, this is a Christian podcast. How dare I? Hey, new pope. Anyway.
Yeah. Shout out Chicago.
Yeah. The Pope.
Yeah.
Everybody's done that.
I wish we would have had the we should have had our Chicago comedian friends.
Oh yeah.
On post Chicago Pope. I wonder what they think. Wonder what Tommy, a Chicago native, thinks.
Villanova Pope too, lest we forget.
Philly wants to claim him so bad. Philly's like, oh yeah, he lived in Delco for like a couple years.
He probably knows what a Wawa is.
Yeah, he wants his Wawa order. I'm like, shut up. Let Chicago have this. Jesus Christ, you won the Super Bowl. We get it.
It is, an American Pope is cool.
Yeah, American Pope is awesome. I love that, like, sorry, we're going to go into a side tangent.
Yeah, just get ready. We'll go back to this now.
I love that. Because at first I was like, oh, this is the first time we have these, like, brothers of the Pope talking a lot. And I'm like, oh, no, it's just the first time we've been,
we can understand it.
We've been privy
English
to this. Yeah, where you just have a dude that lives in the Chicago suburbs and a guy in Florida who's like, yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, that's Bob.
He's always been a White Sox fan. I'm like, that's awesome. That's
my favorite one was they got the brother from Chicago, and he was like, how are you talking about? I was like, well, we do the Wordle. And I'm like, oh my God, the Pope does the Wordle?
Did you see the photo they dug up of him at the 2005 World Series?
Yeah.
I was like, this is my Pope.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to get back into Catholicism.
If the Pope's infallible, right? If he tells them to sell the team, they probably have to, right? I would imagine.
No, but it's awesome.
Yeah, shout out Bob. American Pope Bob. It's Leo.
Pope Bob.
I'm dead naming him by saying Pope Bob. But shout out Pope Bob. Anyway, we were talking about the Drew Carey show. So anyway, the neighbors arrive over after Drew eavesdrop a little bit. They sit down, they're talking about, just, I think Greg hits them up about a business thing.
Yeah.
And I don't really know. Drew's got some smart ass response to it. I don't know. I don't get a lot of the business humor.
No,
that happens.
I don't either. I guess, but Greg's, I guess, a real business guy. He makes his. You can tell right away. He's kind of no nonsense.
Yeah.
But they come in and they sit down and they're having this meal, and
they're drinking buzz beer.
Yeah, Drew pours buzz beer in glasses. He does a fancy beer.
Pinky out.
Yeah, pinky out. And they actually like it. It seems at least like initially Greg likes it, but then his wife actually really likes it. They're like, actually, this stuff is pretty good. It tastes a lot better than when it was dumped all over me in the yard yesterday. They
also agree at a point they're not going to sue Drew, which I think gives him a huge sigh of relief.
Instantly you can see the relief, because that's really what he was.
What this whole thing was.
This whole thing was just like, he doesn't want to get sued by the neighbor.
Right.
So he's like, I'm going to invite him over to dinner, make peace. They've already at this point conceded that, like, I think they're out of business.
Yeah.
Like they were basically.
And this is where we get into questions about insurance and why wasn't insured and things like that.
Yeah, they're like, you guys were insured, right? And Drew was like, well, no, we thought we mailed it in. And then they all blame each other.
Yeah.
Nobody mailed in the insurance. So they basically like, we're fucked.
Circle of blame.
Yeah.
But so, it's at this point Janet talks about, I guess, Greg offhandedly goes, oh, well, it might be something worth investing in. And Janet gets really excited about that.
Yeah. Greg was just saying something to be nice.
He was just trying to be nice.
Clear.
He doesn't really want to put money into this.
No.
But Janet
Greg clearly doesn't like them.
Yeah. No, that's good. He doesn't like Drew. He doesn't like this situation.
Yeah.
But Janet's like, well, it turns into a larger relationship issue, where she goes, the last thing that we passed on investing that I wanted to invest in was Starbucks. And, this, that, the other. God almighty. So he agrees that he'll put money in. But Janet then leaves, and Greg kind of goes hard ass mode on the gang. And he's like, listen, I'll put money into this, but you have to understand, I'm your boss.
Yeah, I'm the boss
gonna
now.
work the way that I want you to work.
Unless you have a bigger investor, obviously they don't. He's like, I make the decisions.
I don't think they have any investor.
Yeah,
other than him. Right.
And Drew pushes back a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's like, no. He's like, this is my money. And like Drew's like, okay, well, will you at least let me win a meaningless argument once in a while? And that was all Drew got out of the negotiation.
Which
He's
is
like,
really
sure,
all
fine.
I think all any of us want at some point.
Yeah,
I want to win meaningless arguments all the time.
But I would just want to delve into a little bit of his background too. Like we talked about him being a business guy, and they're kind of they were a little pessimistic at first. They're like, why should you be the boss?
Yeah.
Like, what do you know about running a beer business?
Right.
And he's like, well, I got my degree from Kent State and my MBA from Northwestern, and I'm part of this, like, he was part of some like business big investing. So anyway, they really paint him out immediately to be a business hard ass. Like
He knows
the
his
worst
shit.
kind of person at your college business school.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of surprised they didn't have him in a Patagonia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That
My
would've
man
been-
should be ready to
he
go.
should, it's whatever it is. It's maybe a sleeveless vest,
Right.
and like a button down, a
Yeah,
blue
yeah.
button down.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, the next scene, we're back at Winfred Louder, which
Drew's
we haven't been all
actual
day.
job.
Yeah,
his
his
like
real
full-time job. And him and Mimi are going back and forth. And Drew kind of like just loses it and breaks down a little bit.
He's drinking coffee out of the whole fucking pot.
Yeah.
He put like creamer into
Right
the
in.
whole pot, and
Right.
he's drinking out of the coffee pot.
He's exhausted. That's what it is. This Buzz beer has turned into like basically a second full-time job.
Yeah.
For him. Because he's just getting
Greg's
overworked
running
by
a tight.
Greg.
Yeah, he's running a tight ship.
Yeah.
We don't really know what he's doing yet at this point, but it makes it clear he's wiped out.
Well, I think it's everything they've been doing, just more of it. And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yo, fuck this.
Yeah,
didn't
before
sign
they
up
got
for
to
this.
work at their own pace.
Right. It seems like it's crazy because you forget that it's a business sometimes, the way that they operate it. It seems almost more like it's a hobby.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there are like bars in Cleveland that carry this fucking beverage. So they've got to like meet deadlines.
So they're Drew's kind of like complaining, and then who walks through the door?
But Greg.
Greg comes in.
And Drew's like, hey, I told you, man, you shouldn't be coming
You
here.
can't come here.
And he
This
goes,
is my
I was
other
just
boss."
so excited. I wanted to get your investment plan,
yeah.
like, your inventory plans.
Oh yeah. He wanted to get something about inventory, and then Wick comes over. They're like, "Oh, this is the other boss you've been talking about."
It's the battle of the bosses right
Yeah.
here at Winfred Louder. Monday. Come in. Yeah, and then they basically have a confrontation a little bit. They negotiate custody of Drew.
Yeah.
Wick gets the days, Greg gets the nights, Greg gets weekends and holidays, and also, very importantly, Drew's vacation time.
Yeah, and then and Wick gets lunch hours.
Yes, yeah. Every other lunch hour.
Every other lunch hour.
They worked it out. You love to see a clean, agreeable custody case like that, because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
you bring the employee in and it just breaks apart the family. you know?
Right.
Yeah. So it's also at this point, they really, I think, develop a kinship with each other. Greg wins over Wick, and Wick gives him the privilege of firing an
Frank.
employee.
Yes. It's like, clearly you're a good boss. You know your stuff. Here, do the honors. And he fires this guy named Johnson.
Yeah. Johnson, he gives him a riddle. He goes, what's black and white and can fire you?
Yeah.
And he goes, us. You're fired.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that this is like I guess Chuck, but it's like one of the first bigger black characters that we've interacted with in Cleveland.
Right.
And it's like this like wealthy to do neighbor that like really doesn't fuck with Drew at all.
No.
No,
not
it's a
at
very
all.
interesting sort of, I don't know, we talk about the 90s sitcoms and
Right.
a lack of representation.
Right.
But I don't know,
And
I
they
just
have
think
this guy who really turns his nose up at Drew.
he's a high society snob in a
Yes.
way. Yeah. It's a turn. It's interesting.
Good representation, Drew Carey show.
Yeah.
You don't do a lot right in this department, but this was good.
This is the same episode where we did have midget as well. So, it's,
Yeah.
you take and you give. It's, so then we go back to the next scene and we get the gang working
In the garage.
In the garage. They're all kind of exhausted. I've never actually seen them work like this before.
Yeah,
Like, it seems like,
I think that was like a big thing was like, okay, let's actually show them bottling beer.
yeah, it's Oswald and Kate and they're working on it. And we get Lewis with
Who,
one of,
they actually seem in good spirits, can I
Yeah.
just say. Drew seems to be overworked.
Yeah.
But in this initial scene, they're kind of like joking around. Even Lewis comes in and they all seem to be like, honestly, it was a little refreshing to see them doing fucking anything.
because it's usually just like, oh, what are we going to do for the marketing? And it's
Yeah.
like, what about the beer?
Right.
What about the beer? Lewis comes in though, and he asks if he can kind of like leave early. I think, which I don't know what he was doing.
He's got a
but
date.
He's got a hot date with a girl at Drug Co. Her name is Pinky.
Pinky.
And she is some sort of
Gerbil
human-animal
hybrid?
hybrid.
Yeah, I was going to say, she was like a gerbil hybrid,
Yeah,
right?
she's like a guinea pig hybrid or something. I don't know the exact story, but basically she is a test subject for all of the more experimental drugs that they give. Lewis talks about her eyes glistening in a certain way as a result of all the drugs. So he's got a hot date.
He's got a cute little gerbil date.
Give me my gerbil mommy.
Oh man, they
Is there room for two in that cage? So, and then we go in to see Drew on the inside, and he is counting labels. He loses his place because of Kate, and he freaks the fuck out. And he's got to count again. I think he had like 1,000 or something.
He's clearly like dead-eyed, just like absolutely, dead tired. He also has a computer on the kitchen table, so clearly. I don't know. They were like, yeah, he's working hard. It was like the world's largest
He bought
computer.
a Macintosh. Yeah. Look at this. So, yeah, and this is where Greg comes in. And we don't really know at this point, but we find out very soon this is like Saturday night. Like, this is like, this is like a primo relaxation time.
Greg comes in with like a cartoonishly large board with a map and pins in it.
This is the blue pins represent where Buzz Beer is currently distributed. The red ones mean where we have to go where it's not distributed
We want to make these all blue.
Yeah.
Real hard ass stuff.
Oswald and Kate to bring in other boards that he brought outside, which are just kind of like charts that we don't really get into.
Yeah, we don't really. But doesn't matter.
We build a cubicle basically. We build 3 walls around Drew in front of a computer. Yeah. He picks up his house phone and he goes, Winfred Louder. He goes, ah!
Yeah. He's like, yeah. So immediately we catch on. He's like, I'm in a cubicle. This is, and he loses it here. Yeah. He's like, I can't do this.
One of my favorite lines is he goes, he gets to the person on the phone. He goes, call me back on Monday when I'm at work and less busy. So, he kind of loses it a bit. And we also get Janet coming back in at this point, Mrs. Clement. Yeah. And she goes, Greg, what are you doing? It's Saturday night. Let these people be. Aren't we going to go out?
Yeah, we're going to go to dinner.
Just so grind mode, executive level, Gary V, whatever the hell. He's like, no, man, we got to hustle. I'm protecting our investment by working on a Saturday night and making these guys work. And it pisses off Janet, I think.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, fine.
Janet's a real one.
Yeah.
She gets it.
I mean, she wants to leave. She wants to go out to the... They worked hard for all of this nice money and stuff, and I'm sure they want to go use it and spend it. So she leaves, and then everybody else sort of leaves. I think she leaves the door open a crack, and Oswald and Kate just sort of scurry out.
Yeah.
And then Drew and Greg are left. And Drew decides that what he should do...
if you want to work.
Yeah, I know something that's going to be a little taxing, but it might be worth it. They want to get into quality control. So then smash cut to them at the garage. Slosh. Greg's drinking from like the hose thing, like the tank hose. Drew's, pouring back bottles. They are fucked up. And it's, it's good. I'm glad that he still has that gear, Greg. Yeah, I was worried he had lost it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we never saw it. No, there's a point where you're like, we don't know who this guy is.
No, not at all.
Can he even slam back a beer?
No,
we don't know.
Does he have? It's so weird that he would invest in beer if he wasn't like a drinker, good guy. Yeah.
Oh no, maybe those are the wrong bit
to run a beer business.
Yeah. Well, they kind of like the guys who shouldn't sell drugs are the guys that get high on their own supply. It's kind of the same thing.
I thought it was, but like, the Budweiser company, for example, right? The Clydesdales run that business. And, they're just a bunch of horses.
Right.
So, but anyway, no, they're all fucked up and they're talking. They're finally having something of a heart to heart, or like the first, like, sort of normal, friendlier relationship conversation they've had.
Where he's like, well, Greg all of a sudden becomes concerned, like, oh, you think I'm like a hard ass or something that I can't have fun?
Yeah. And he also thinks his wife sees it. She initially he opens up and he was like, she liked it when I was like the man in control, in charge. But now it seems like with some time and distance, she's like turned off by that in a way. And he insists he can still have fun. He doesn't have to be a drag. Yeah. And this is where they get into, the two of them share another neighbor. It's a neighbor on the other side of Drew's house who I think it's like Thompson or something.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I can't remember their names. Where the fuck did those season 1 neighbors go?
Yeah. Where they were going door to door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they were definitely on one side of the house.
Oh, wait, no, the hillbilly neighbors.
The hillbilly neighbors, that's what I meant. Yeah, not the door-to-door.
That'd be a great clash.
Yeah,
for Greg to meet the hillbilly neighbors.
Yeah, could you imagine? How does somebody that wealthy end up in such a middle-class neighborhood?
Well, they make a joke about that. They make a joke about that where it was back whenever Greg was explaining his credentials to run a business, and Drew's like, well, if you're so smart and successful, why are you living next to me?
How'd you end up in Cleveland? I think is the larger point there. But so the other neighbor that isn't a hillbilly, but whatever, we will let that go, has their Christmas lights still up. And Drew and Greg agree on this, that the rule is after January 1st, you got to take that shit down.
Here's my thing.
I also think I share the same opinion you're going to have.
I think you can have a couple days. I think you get until the next weekend. I don't care about the Three Kings. A lot of people are like,
I was going to say January 6th, Three Kings.
I'm kind of like, as long as it's down the weekend after New Year's Eve weekend, then you then that's fine.
Okay, so
I take it down before Three Kings though, if that's when it falls.
I was going to say the weekend after. So let's say like this year, if I remember correctly, New Year's was on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Does it need to be down that next weekend?
Take it down that next day. I think the because at that point I used to hate like when they played Christmas songs on the radio until like fucking
February.
I was like, this is like it'll play it till January 10th, and I'm like, no, I want to be done with that on the 27th.
Right.
I don't want to hear it even on New Year's. But Christmas decorations can stay up till New Year's. But like we used to take ours down New Year's Day.
Wow.
We were done.
So
we
you
ripped it all down.
I wonder if that's more, it's not like, I mean, you're Pittsburgh. That's not really Midwest, but it's getting there. You know, I wonder if that's like a regional thing.
I don't know.
Or maybe
feel like
I'm just an asshole who likes joy. Sorry, I like joy.
Well, I feel like all that determines it mostly is it fucking cold outside?
Do I want to?
Yeah. Do I want to climb the roof and take it all down?
That's fair.
But anyway, so the two of them are like, these lights got to come down.
Yeah.
So
and they're drunk enough, and Greg has something to prove that they're like, well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go ahead and get these fucking lights down. So then we cut to them having done it. They're running with these lights, and we hear, I guess, the neighbor's dog barking after them.
Yeah.
And they go into the garage to hide
in the garage,
and they're having a good time. And they're kind of like, I think we finally formed a friendship connection here. We went through something together
here with they're drunk.
And then all of a sudden we start hearing this low rumbling, and Drew's like, is that thunder? What's going on? And Greg knows all too well at this point that is the sound of the tank about to go boom. Yeah. So they run out into Drew's kitchen, and we just see big splat.
Yeah.
It's all on Drew's windows. Yeah, it shoots a load on the windows. It's a Christian podcast.
Yeah.
It is it's a complete mess. Janet runs over, and she's like, what the hell just happened? And Drew kind of blames Greg here, saying he knows so much about business, but he didn't know that he was supposed to connect these couple of wires, I guess, when he was drinking from the hose.
Right.
So they start getting in a tussle over that.
So at least it was Greg's problem, but Greg was organized enough to insure it.
Yes.
So they're not worried.
They were
this
worried
time.
they were all out of business. Janet was, at least, that their investment had gone down the drain. But no, it's, they have the money. They're insured. But it sounds like they're probably not going to
go back into business with each other, because Drew's like, I don't want to do this again with you.
Yeah, he was like,
you are
mean.
overworking us. You're mean.
But it's a shame because I like you. And then Greg goes, oh, I don't like you. He just admits, he's like, oh, no, not a fan of you, man.
But ultimately, Greg's like, we'll try it again.
Yeah.
I can be nicer. Janet, again, I think here is the peacemaker,
pushing him towards being a softer kind of guy.
Yeah, and also just being open to working with them and working with Drew, and
also just having a neighborly relationship.
And like all Drew really requested was just like that they had a business and they were making half the profits they're making now, but at least we were like having like twice as much fun doing it.
Yeah.
And that's all that Drew's sort of pitch is. So ultimately they're still going to work together. Of course, you can't lose Buzz Beer.
No. And now we need more auxiliary characters that we're probably not going to see every third episode.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
so anyway,
we keep it going. It resolves. What's the credit scene here? Do you remember?
Mimi's putting makeup on Drew's right hand.
Oh yeah, what a random fucking thing.
Because there's this ongoing like Drew's dating his right hand joke that Mimi has.
Mm-hmm. It's again not to be crude. It's a masturbation joke.
We're big into masturbation.
We're big into the jerk off jokes here.
Yeah. Well, at the Drew Carey show, that was that the writer's room was absolutely dying every time somebody pitched a masturbation joke.
Wait. I got
another one.
Ah!
Just like fucking Chris in the corner. He's like, all right.
There goes Crank It Chris with another one. Here we go.
So anyway,
she's drawing up his hand. It kind of looks like her, respectfully. Like she's got like blue eyeshadow and all this shit.
That's hot.
And then he wakes, and then she wakes up, or he wakes up, excuse me. And she's like, "Oh, look at you." Yeah. Anyway, weird one off. Whatever. They can't all be great, but
but that's it.
Yeah. That's a wrap on these apps.
That's a wrap on these apps.
How do you feel about?
I like Greg.
Yeah.
It's an interesting character to add.
I enjoy
the
that.
wealthy, well-to-do neighbor that's now investing. I'm glad they have an investor in the company.
Yeah, it feels like they're gonna get somewhere with Buzz Beer.
Maybe
it's a
they
little more
will.
solid.
Again, I felt weird about the Kate feelings they introduced with Drew.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're digging that up again, but in Drew Carey show fashion, we'll forget about it next episode. We won't talk about it.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. We got the fucking Instagram. You can follow us, Instagram.com/Cleveland Rocks Podcast. You can subscribe on the YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube.com/
Watch our shit.
at Cleveland Rocks Podcast. You need to put the @ sign in there. I don't understand why, but if you Google Cleveland Rocks Podcast, it should pop up.
Yes.
And you can email us. Any thoughts, feelings, let us know what your drink of choice is. That would be a fun little roundup for no reason.
I'd love to know what your beer of choice is.
Or beverage. Let us know, like
or
cocktail.
Beverage. Yeah.
Whatever.
If you're sitting down, let's say this scenario, right? Sitting down at the Warsaw and you got to order something.
Sure. What's your drink?
And just assume they have it all. Full bar, whatever beer, cocktail you've ever had.
Yeah.
What are you ordering?
Yeah.
What are you ordering and what are you sitting down with the gang with?
Yeah. You can email us that answer or anything else you want to say. If you know why Krista Miller's off all those DVD covers,
I'd be very curious.
Cleveland Rocks Podcast at gmail.com.
Also, if you know if there's heaters in the cargo department of an airplane.
That actually should be the first and foremost. If you know that, we need to know for purposes. So,
all right.
thanks.
Later.
Bye.